but
Yeah.
we figured it out and it worked and it was great.
That's great. That is great. And I feel like during those times, that's where you kind of get some of your biggest lessons, right? And okay, I will do this differently next time, or this really worked for us, or, and I think that by pushing your own personal limits, you really understand what you're capable of and what you could do if you really just kind of put your mind to it and set forth with a goal and get that negative talk out of your head, because we could talk ourselves out of things all the time. We
All
could be our own worst enemy.
all the time. I would have talked myself out of even starting a business. But
Yeah.
at some point I'm like, just try it. You're never going to know what you can do. And part of it's been great because I've learned so much. And I think that's what keeps me going. There's constantly learning. There's learning how to market. There's learning about how to do the financial side of the business. There's learning how to scale. There was learning how to ship. There's a constant learning, which I think is great. But if you're not willing to learn, also to ask questions, I think it wouldn't really work.
Yeah.
But I've been very lucky.
Yeah. And how do you maintain strong relationships with your clients and your corporate gifters? I think being online and having direct to consumer is great, but there's also like a lost personability there in a way, right? They're not coming into your bakery, you're not interacting with them. It's not like, hey, taste this new flavor and tell me what you think. Oh, okay, you want to buy a box of those? That's wonderful. So how are you or how have you learned to kind of maintain and build those strong relationships?
A lot of it's just keeping connected with them. So if a larger corporate order is going to come in, it's usually not going to come through the website. Usually, if it's a larger order, they just email us directly, and then we work directly with whoever at that corporation is responsible for the order. And then from there, we just continue to give them feedback and updates. Let's say they send out 200 packages, two addresses are wrong. Like we just go back and forth, and it's never um, kind of like a generic response. We're constantly giving them feedback, and then we'll follow up with them after and just say, how did it go? Was there anything you liked, didn't like? Um, the good part there is the product kind of speaks for itself. So a lot of times a corporate gifter will get great feedback from the recipient. What I do on my end is I just make sure I keep in touch with people. I don't want, and I like keeping in touch with people. Most of the people I work with, most of my clients are lovely people that really want to gift and really want to appreciate others. And so it's a joy to keep in touch with them. So I think it's just a organic keeping in touch. How are you throughout the year type thing that I think people appreciate. I think in a lot of ways, especially with virtual work, people are feeling disconnected and people are feeling like they're not part of a community.
Mm.
And part of what we try to do with both the gifting as well as how we interact with our clients is just reminding them that we're all people and we are all part of a community.
Yeah, that is a big thing, especially with people being remote or being hybrid, is having that sense of community and having that sense of being part of a team. And so being able to help bridge that gap, I think, is important too.
I agree. I agree. And we're part of their team. We're part of their gifting team. I mean, really, we're trying to make it so that they can show their clients or their employees their gratitude and how much they appreciate them and how great, it's hard to keep employees sometimes. And I think a lot of corporations are realizing now that simple things like sending your employees a gift on their birthday or once a month, just sending them a little box that says, thanks for your hard work. All those little things just kind of is a way to stay connected. Where in the old days, you'd walk by someone's office, you'd stick your head in and say, oh, great job on that last pitch, happy that happy that you're here or something. You don't have that informal interaction. So this is just another way to keep people connected. And then
Yeah,
we do
that
the
is so
same thing. We
important.
stay connected. I'm sorry.
I said, and that is so important, to have your employees feel that way, especially for smaller companies, I would think too, that maybe can't do these big retreats and have, all of these huge bonuses, or, maybe a company that is just starting out and maybe they don't have that much revenue yet, but they still want to do something that shows personability and a little gratitude, I think goes a long way. And I think that that's a great way. Who doesn't want a cookie?
Right.
Right.
Delivered to your door. But
Yeah.
it's true. And we've worked with small companies and startups and very small companies that, I mean, I can recall a couple companies where the person was just thinking through the idea, but had like had a couple initial meetings with others just to pick their brains. And so they sent them a small box of Subars. Thank you for spending half an hour on the phone with me. I really appreciate it. That's a small gesture that that person's going to remember
Yeah,
for a long time.
definitely. And it makes all the difference. I remember younger too, like interviewing and stuff, and sometimes sending a thank you note or something like that. Winning a new piece of business and sending the client like a little celebratory something. I kind of felt like those things might have fell off a little bit. And people forget about them, or kind of just takes for granted that you're going to be there and you're always going to do your job and whatever it is that you need to do. So I think that it's a really cute way and different from, like you said, and I don't want to knock Harry and David or any of
Right.
those corporate gifting, but I've gotten a lot of those boxes over the years, and they are a bit impersonal, and there's a lot of things in there that I'm like, am I really going to eat this? Or I feel bad throwing it away, but what am I going to do with candied almonds or 600
Right.
pears?
I was going to say six. I was going to say 2 dozen pears. How many pears can you eat? They all ripen the same day.
Yeah. Or just random things that get thrown in there. And you really kind of stepping it up, which I really, really love and enjoy. What are some of the lessons that you learned or that you wish you knew before you started that maybe somebody thinking about starting a baking business or somebody who's in this industry, might not be thinking of right now?
Lessons that I've learned, I think, or advice that I'd give, I guess it's all tied in. I think a big one is that just to ask questions when you don't know. And I think don't get in your own way. People generally want to help. I've learned from so many, and now I try to give back. I mean, if anyone's starting a new business and they want any advice, I'm willing to share anything that I learned because I don't feel like people should have to start over. And I feel like I really benefited by asking questions and surrounding myself with people who really wanted me to succeed. I think that's, and also another lesson is never give up on learning. I mean, there's always something more to learn. There's always another way to grow my business. There's always something out there I can do to be better.
And in your point of view and what you're doing today, where do you see the corporate gifting industry going? Um, do you have an opinion on that? Do you think it's growing? Do you think that you need to kind of be really unique and different to kind of make things really worthwhile? What's your point of view on that?
I think corporate gifting is growing, and there's studies out there showing that corporations are gifting more, both to employees and to clients. And I think the trend is to more authentic gifting. And it doesn't need to be a large life-changing gift. It needs to be a very personal gift with a personal touch. And there's been more and more of a trend to that. And I think people really appreciate it. I think people are also, in some ways, just tired of getting stuff or tired of getting swag or tired of getting, 2 t-shirts, a mug, and a pen with a company name. They'd rather just have something that looks like it's very personal. Also, that's not going to take up space. I mean, you're going to enjoy it. If you want to remember, you keep a little gift note, and it makes an impact. So I think there is definitely an increase in corporate gifting because I think corporations are now really realizing the necessity to keep their employees and their clients happy.
That's great. And I agree with you on that one. I think it makes sense for sure. This was so much fun. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here. I
Thank
always like
you.
to end our segments with 2 fun questions. So the first one is, what was your first job ever?
My first job ever. So my dad owned a gas station and I would work at the gas station. That was my first job. I think I was like 14 or 15 when I started, but yeah, I would help out at the gas station back in the
Wow.
days before self-serve.
Yeah, so you'd be out there pumping gas.
Pumping gas or yep, exactly.
Cool. Did he have one of those little convenience stores inside too?
Eventually, but back when I was young, he didn't. No, but eventually he did have a little convenience store, yeah.
I was gonna say I'd rather be inside doing that, work in the register, I think.
Right.
And second question is, if you could do any career in the world, location and money didn't matter, what would you do?
I do love what I'm doing now. So I would maybe do that. I would have maybe started it earlier in my life, maybe, so I'd have more knowledge. I don't know. But I think if not, if it was another career, I think I would like to be a teacher. I think
Oh,
teachers are amazing. I witnessed amazing teachers with my daughters. I feel like my three daughters have grown up to be incredible people. And I feel like it was really a partnership with my husband and I, as well as the teachers, because they're in school as many waking hours as home. And I really have a lot of respect for teachers, and I don't think they are appreciated enough.
I a million percent agree with that for sure. And they're not paid enough either.
No, not at all.
They have such a big responsibility and they do so much. And I mean, that's a whole nother topic. I could go on and on and on about that.
Right.
Lots of teachers in my family as well, but that's really great and really nice. And I really respect that and enjoy that. Again, this was really great. Can you tell us where our listeners can find you if they're interested in placing an order or learning more or speaking with you?
Of course. So at most, you can always reach me through the website, which is www.subars, Subarz, sweets.com. We are at Subars on Instagram and at Subarzsweets on Facebook. You can always send me an email directly at Daphne@subarzsweets.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again. This was really great. I hope our listeners enjoyed this, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun.
So please subscribe, like, and share. Until next time, thank you, everybody.